I ended up taking that company all the way to the NASDAQ.
Yeah.
Raised $20 million, sold every major department store in North America. And I got so stressed and I got so overworked that I ended up in hospital 3 times. We build strong societies based on strong people. And we become strong people based on facing challenges, not having everything handed to us so that it's fair along the way. We have to make that choice no matter what we were given.
Welcome back to Seeking Success Podcast, #1 podcast in Toronto. Today we got Joel from Naked in the house.
Gentlemen.
Joel, I'm surprised you're wearing clothes, man.
Well,
We thought we were gonna come in naked.
did I miss a memo? Was it in the notes?
It was in the notes, yeah.
Man.
Radies want us to all do it in naked underwear.
Okay, I'll do it if you guys do it.
Unfortunately,
Listen, if you're not wearing
maybe next
it,
summer.
I brought you. Yeah, next summer.
Next summer.
You got it. You on a regime now? What,
Yeah, I'm just starting actually. Just
What
started.
the fuck?
buddy? Blast
You
from,
got
the
your ass on the table?
blast from the past. I forgot.
Did you already ask?
Oh shit!
What the fuck?
I read half of it.
I didn't even see that the whole. What the fuck? That's so random. Okay, wow.
Man, it's passion.
Wow.
Your passion for entrepreneurship is in this thing.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Thank you.
You were like 19 when you wrote this book.
Yeah, it's very bad.
Were you
Okay.
19 or younger? I think you might have been a bit younger.
I might have even been 19 or 18, one of the two. I think 19.
Dude, like, okay, you can go look back and say, oh, it's very bad because I was 19, but you can also look back and like, when I was 19, I wrote a fucking book.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And there's some gems in here.
Thank you,
You still do monk mode?
No, not anymore. I feel like I'm in a stage where like I don't really seek monk mode right now.
You're just already in the flow.
Yeah, I think like okay, it comes back to the principle of like a lot of people they tell entrepreneurs to work out, right?
Yeah.
The whole point of working out is not to actually get big, is to build that discipline. I think I built that discipline through reading like a book a week as opposed to going to the gym.
Yeah.
I do go to the gym now, but it's like I think I've built that backbone of discipline.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Umar, you read his book?
You know what? I have a copy, but no, I've never read it. But this is here lie.
He's like,
I saw
don't
the
ask
journey.
me. Don't ask me if you read the book.
I saw the journey, bro.
No, listen, it's like a stream of consciousness where your passion for entrepreneurship, and I think it's actually a great book for young, like
Thanks,
teenagers to read too,
Yeah.
because you're just like, just go out and do it.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
go out
yeah.
and learn it. Just
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
Like that's really the spirit of what
Yeah.
I got in this thing.
Wow.
Anyway.
Well, I gotta say, yo, shout out to you, man. I
Yeah.
think you're the first
You're the
guest
first
that actually
guest.
brought the book.
Or even read the book.
Well, I'm halfway. Look, man, I've even dog-eared some pages that caught me. So,
Jeez.
Wow.
you know, good
That's,
for you.
that's insane. I haven't seen that book in a while. That's why I saw it on the thing. I was like, wait, what the I was like, wait, is that ours? I'm so confused.
I-
Wait, and is this for me? Because
There's both you guys. Some underwear for you guys.
You sent us a box, and there was just 2 pairs. And then
Ernest sent the box.
Ernest sent the box,
Yeah,
and we're
yeah.
just looking at it. We're like, wait, do we share this? And
He
then
sent one pair.
No.
it was 2 pairs in one box.
One box.
So you-
Okay, wait, hold on. Before we open that, can we like tell them like what's going on?
Yeah,
That'd probably be a good idea,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So Joel, tell us who you are. Tell us what you do.
Yeah, I mean, you guys would know. I'm starting to find that question really daunting because, you know, when you're entrepreneur, it's like the first thing that comes out of your mouth is like that's the box they're going to put you in. And if I know anything about you from your book, there's a lot of boxes that you're in.
Oh, yeah.
that you're in, right? So
sure.
like I'm super interested in film and I'm super interested in writing and creative projects, but net. I make consumer brands, and one of the consumer brands that I'm launching right now is a brand called Naked Revival. And it's a play off of, so I actually, you know, back in the day, I was a runner and I represented Canada internationally.
Oh, wow.
No
Had a
way.
full ride down to the States, and then I blew up my Achilles.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And, but it's one of those things that you guys probably know. It's like, oh, at the moment, in that moment in time, you think my life's over, and then you realize it's just sending you on a different trajectory,
100%.
right? The trajectory you're supposed to be on, maybe. So I ended up traveling the world, and I ended up in Peru, and I
Okay.
came across some underwear. I was like, oh my god, this Pima cotton underwear is like better than anything my mom ever bought me.
No way.
So I was like, I think I want to make some underwear. So I come home, and I Google, how do we make underwear? I just Google that, right? Pre-AI, because if I asked ChatGPT,
Yeah.
it'd just make the underwear for me. So I Google it, and this all kind of happened really fast. I Google it, I get introduced to a factory, I make this first pair of naked underwear, and then I get asked to go on Dragon's Den. So
Okay.
you guys know American listeners?
Do we have? Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, for sure.
obviously, right? So Shark Tank down in the States, ours is Dragon's Den. And they asked me to go on the show. And I had nothing. I had like 2 pairs of underwear. I was like, okay. Because you guys tell me what you think about this, and we can continue the stories. Like, if you have a shot, like if call it the universe, whatever, God says, hey, Joel, here's a shot. Do you take it if you're not ready? Or do you get ready? Or do you get ready fast? Like, what would be your mode in that?
I feel like it really depends like on how risk adverse you are at that stage of your career. Especially if you're like very early on, you might want to take as many shots as possible to make as many mistakes as possible.
Yeah.
So you can learn from them, revise, and then go in better. I think having that opportunist mindset.
Well said.
I think at this point in my life, I would probably try to get ready fast.
Yeah.
But younger me would have just take the shot without thinking.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of like this hybrid of, if you jump, the net will catch you kind of thing, where you'll land where you're supposed to. There's a bit of that trust. But there's also just a bit of like, I need to create some energy. I need to create some momentum. And I was like, well, next year, this opportunity might not be sitting here. So I'm just going to go for it. But that was a blessing and a curse, because I go on the show. One of the dragons says, brand like Naked Underwear is like once in a lifetime. I want to own 100% of that. One of the dragons said, you are delusional. I was like, I probably was delusional, right? And I wasn't ready, but 3 million people saw it. And next thing you know, I've raised a few $1 million. I'm in all the best stores. Anyway, to make a long story short, or long story long at this point, is I ended up taking that company all the way to the NASDAQ.
Yeah.
Raised $20 million, sold every major department store in North America. And then it was divested. It became a meme stock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that as well.
And so that was the first, like, that was my first foray into entrepreneurship, and it kind of went the full life cycle from working out of your garage to the NASDAQ. And then, this is a couple of years later starting something else.
Wait, what was it? What was that time period like?
It's almost a decade.
It was 10 years.
Yeah.
From going to Peru to then going public.
Yeah, about 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, fast or slow in your mind, right?
It, obviously, if you think about it, it seems pretty fast.
Yeah.
But then in the moment, I feel like every year, probably feel like, oh man, like should I quit now? Is this even worth it?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, for me,
And sorry to cut you off. Was it just like razor focus on like it's this or fucking nothing, or do you think like there was times where like you were also doing Naked, but also dallying and testing out other things?
Side hustles and stuff like that.
that side hustles has become a later part of entrepreneurship for me. I feel like I've more or less maybe earned the right to divide my time across other projects, because I have a little bit more competency, I have a little bit more leverage, a little bit more experience to be more efficient across different things. But then I was completely myopic, right? And that I was very do or die, like almost to the point where it was a sickness for me, right? Because I had come from running, and running is very directional.
Yeah.
You train incredibly hard. You're focused on some endpoint, and that's it. Like I skipped my prom, prom after party. It was kind of embarrassing story. Like it was beautiful. I had this beautiful prom date, and we did the ceremony part, and then like after everyone's going out, and she's like, "Are we going out?" And I'm like, "No, I'm dropping you off. I got to run in the morning."
Oh my god.
And the look on her face, and at that moment, I'm like, I'm a fucking loser. Like, what am I doing, right?
God.
But anyway,
Virgin.
right? Oh fuck.
Would you still talk to that girl or no?
No, no. I was definitely a virgin.
Oh god.
I think I had to quit running to not become a virgin, to lose my virginity, right?
Yeah,
Otherwise, I was
right?
sorry.
And then you made underwear. Perfect.
Right? I think there's like part of me when you go back and do you guys ever do like self work? You kind of look back and say, hey, why do I show up the way I show up, right? I'm like, is all of the reason I show up today because back in the day some chick broke my heart, and like I've been trying to make up for it ever since, like feel better about it, like have a sexy underwear company because I didn't feel good enough. But those kind of, like, we're making fun of it now and making light of it, but like we need some kind of motivating tension to figure ourselves out in this world, right?
Sure.
And one thing that I've always looked at, like at the beginning of my career, I looked at entrepreneurship as a label. And now I look at entrepreneurship as just a path. It's like a choice to say, okay, as I go through my life and I'm gonna crash against all of these things, and I'm gonna learn who I am and how I show up and how I can show up better, because I'm constantly putting myself in these situations that are dangerous, that are not safe, that test me, and that's going to make me a better person versus like, I'm going to play it safe. I'm not going to do that. Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm rambling a bit now, but to go back to the initial question, you know, I was so myopic and I was so focused that I had no balance in my life. And, you know, I got to a point where I had a daughter, and my daughter, I was traveling 200 days a year. I barely saw her. My wife was ready to leave. She's like, this isn't life, right? And I got so stressed and I got so overworked that I ended up in hospital 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Like 3 times.
For what?
Just from stress, anxiety induced, you know, it's not like, he has a cold. It was I worked myself into a frenzy and I ended up in a hospital bed. Wow. So I had to find a way to readjust my life, rebalance my life, because I still wanted to build businesses. I still wanted to create, but I wasn't doing it in a healthy way.
Yeah.
You ever ended up there, or you guys always kind of had?
Well, you're going to read in my book. I was actually hospitalized myself.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We're soul brothers,
Literally
man.
panic attacks. Sorry?
So soul brothers, yeah, I haven't, the other half, it's in the back half?
It's in, I think it's the end of the first half.
Okay.
But yeah, no, literally, like, and Umar, you know the story. You also have a similar story, no?
But not to the point of hospitalization, no.
You didn't go hard enough, man.
No.
You worked harder.
This guy.
Rookie. Yeah, get those numbers up, man. Well, I want to ask you as well, Joel. So what was it like within your inner circle, friends, family, when you literally take a spontaneous, like, you're the runner, right? Then you take a spontaneous trip to Peru, and then you come back and you're like, yeah, and I'm going to make underwear. Like, what's it like in your circle?
Well, that circle has evolved over time.
For sure.
Right? To be more in line with who I am.
Okay.
You know, because I think we always have that, like, where you have these friends, and those friends, they serve you, maybe they serve you in your adolescence, and they're your brothers and sisters in adolescence. And then as you start to change, you start to find that your relationship with them is changing.
Yes.
Right? And it's at first it's kind of an awkward tension. You're like, wait a second, why? And it's just like, that's not serving me anymore, right? It's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It doesn't mean that they weren't meaningful in your life. And so I was so focused that a lot of my friends and a lot of my family was like, dude, like, get a real job. Play it safe. Stop redlining so hard. Stop putting yourself in such precarious financial situations. That was fine when you were 19. That was fine when you were 20. That was fine when you were 21. I still get it today. I mean, there's still people on the outside who are like, maybe it's time to go settle down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you not know me after all this time?
Yeah.
And we have to trust our nature. We have to know who we are, because that is how we tap into our flow. And we have to your point, we have to cultivate the people around us who support that flow, who understand if I'm not going to respond to a text or an email because there's other things going on, right? So that circle has really evolved over the years to now it's just everybody is in the same lane. Like they all are focused on their goals. We all understand the pain that we're all in and what we're all shooting for. So, but it didn't start there.
That's nuts. Man, my mind keeps going back to, have you read Shoe Dog, like the biography of Phil Knight?
Yeah.
It sounds like, because he has a similar journey, you know, he just fresh out of school, travels around the world, and then he wants to do the shoe thing, comes back, does it. And like, when I'm hearing all this, did you have a nightmare story when you went public too, or was it a different scenario?
The whole thing was a nightmare.
Oh, yeah?
Should we dive into that now?
Yeah, for sure.
Should we dive into that now?
Yeah. We can dive into that.
So, Naked. So, okay, here's how I found out about this company, okay? So, literally, it was that frenzy in 2021 that was, right?
2020. Was it 2020?
2020, that whole
that
whole
era.
And the 2020, early 2021.
Right?
Yeah.
So stocks absolutely crashed. Then we saw the government was just printing out money, and then we had GameStop, AMC, Naked. What else was there? Nokia, BlackBerry,
AMC.
Yeah, AMC, all just absolutely pumping because of the short squeeze, right? Yeah. And so shout out to Wall Street Bets, come on.
Those guys. Heroes, man.
What was it like when you're seeing Naked stock just absolutely trending everywhere because of the short squeeze? What was that like?
Well, you guys must have a sense of that because you guys have had some massively viral videos, and you kind of feel that energy shifting, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you're just like, I want to ride this, right?
Oh yeah.
And that was the moment that all the blood, sweat, and tears of 10 years had gone into creating, except I wasn't in the company when it happened. I had just left. So when I moved the company to New York and we uplisted onto the NASDAQ, we'd done a merger with a company out of Australia. And the company out of Australia the merger hadn't gone well. Let's just say that. And the stock had gone from a few $100 million in value to 5.
Yeah.
The market had punished us for just not delivering on some of the things that we had said we were going to in the time frame, et cetera. And they were just, it was not for ill intent. It was just the market punishes you. It responds to the success and failures of your business and what it thinks is going to happen. So they were in such a dire, they were in a death spiral. NASDAQ had sent them the delisting notices. They were 70% shorted, and they started making cuts, and they started divesting businesses. And so they cut Naked Underwear. Like, they shut it down. They shut down North America. I, at the time, was just a consultant in the company I'd started, and then by the end, I wasn't involved in all. And so I was watching my dream happen from the side.
No.
And it was still happening to me in a way, because I was getting phone calls from the New York Times. I was getting phone calls from CNN. I was getting phone calls or messages from Wall Street Bets saying, can you talk about this? And I could not engage to talk about it. It was
an NDA.
I had an NDA in my exit and all that stuff. So it was surreal to watch it happen.
Oh, that's insane.
But it was fantastic all the same.
Yeah.
Because I remember, now that you said that, I remember because when we were talking about Naked Stock when it was getting short squeezed, we were on the website and it said it was an Australian-based swimwear company, right?
Yeah.
So, and then, because the whole time we're talking, like, yo, this dude's from Canada. So,
Yeah. It was wild to see, because it was also a really cool moment in the history of trading, right?
Oh, yeah.
That where we saw, because you mentioned, like, so there's an abundance of money in the system because government's printing it and handing it out, right? There's abundance of time. And then there's the democratization of trading through apps like Robinhood.
Oh, yeah.
And there's the connection, the digital connection through these communities. And so people were able to rise up. And I think that short selling is one of the most dysfunctional aspects of the capital markets. It's like, what? I get it, but why do we get to bet against businesses? Like, why are we betting against their failure? Like, what positive outcome is that about? So the fact that they were doing a short squeeze was really inspiring to me, because you guys know, like, anybody who's an entrepreneur on the show is like, all entrepreneurial stories are David and Goliath stories. Because to take something from nothing against this machine that is the world and birth it into the world is not something that happens very, very regularly, right? Like 9 out of 10 fail. So in that respect, it was so inspiring to watch this rise up, stick it to the man, stick it to Wall Street. And it was sort of sick to watch, like, when you watch the media cycle and it was like, oh, those guys are just pumping stocks on their memes. It's like, well, what the fuck do you think that Wall Street does?
Yeah, literally.
That's all they do. They control the narrative of a stock.
Yeah.
And they pump it. They might not pump it. It might not happen as aggressively, obviously, as it did during the meme stock, but it was just playing their own game against them. And I loved that. I mean, the sad part is obviously those who got pulled into it and they didn't know the game they were playing. They didn't know the sharks they were swimming with. Somebody was going to end up holding that bag.
Oh yeah, the bag holders.
Right? And
the paper hands, the diamond. Yeah.
It's
what
like
a time that was, right?
Dave Portney was like diamond hands.
Yeah.
He was hitting sell on some stocks. But that's just it, is like, I hope that those people didn't lose, like, they weren't so soured that they didn't ever do it again, that they learned a valuable lesson. It's like, okay, now I know the game I'm playing.
Oh, for sure.
How do I now play it now that I know the rules?
Oh yeah.
Right?
I think it was great too, because that whole frenzy brought in a whole new wave of retail traders.
Yeah.
And let's be real, probably 80+% of them lost money, because the whole the whole motto was like, it's us versus the suits. We're gonna fuck the suits. Hold, never sell. Da da da. And a lot of people got wrecked.
Because investing is not a group activity. It's really player versus player, right? If everyone's diamond handing and like the bag holder exits, everyone's fucked.
Yeah. I know, man. I know. It's one of the harsh lessons that I've had to learn, not on the trader side, because I've never been a trader. Do you guys trade?
A little bit.
A little bit, right?
We'll just swing trades, but nothing crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's fun. Like, if it's fun, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to make a living at trading, you have to know the sharks you're swimming with, right?
Oh yeah.
And then on the brand side, because I'm doing deals with this kid from a farm town in British Columbia, and next thing you know, I'm trading, my stock's trading on the NASDAQ. I'm living in New York, and I'm raising tens of millions of dollars from Wall Street, and I didn't know deal structure. I didn't know how the capital markets could punish you. I didn't know the sharks I was swimming with. I didn't know the bad deals I was signing. You know, like I'm not one to pretend anything. Like I didn't make any money on Naked. I was locked up. I signed a terrible agreement with my own company.
When you exit, they didn't pay you out?
No.
Not $1?
No. But I didn't know. That was my own naivete, right? That was my own lesson to learn.
Okay.
Because I signed bad deals and...
Well, okay, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, please.
Did you have like a fat salary or something at the time with them?
No. I mean, relative? No.
Really?
Not relative to what I would think a fat salary is today.
So they like kind of screwed you out of your own company.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to say that they did that intentionally. I'm here to say that if you don't watch out for yourself and you don't know how to structure things for yourself, that's just the nature of the markets. The markets aren't going to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Joel, you didn't do this right. Here, please." No, you have. Those are the hard lessons that we have to learn, right? So I kept seeing that on my side. It's like, oh my, here's all the areas where I didn't know the sharks I was swimming with. And that doesn't mean they're bad people. They just know the games they're playing, and I need to play those games too if I'm in there. And that doesn't mean malicious games. It just means this is the game, and I got to play it that way.
Yeah.
And so that's all I'm saying is for traders is just like really understand, like you guys know, incentives drive everything. And a lot of incentives are pretty bad. A lot of incentives are self-centered, right? And so when you're getting involved in a company or when you're getting involved with people, try and understand where their incentives are. What are they, like the founders, the financiers of those companies, try and understand what their incentives are. So then you're at least not blind going into this thing. You're okay, I'm making a bet with my time, with my money, with my whatever. And I'm making that bet based on the best information that I have, right? And that involves a little bit of research. But then, if the stock's rolling like in a meme stock, sometimes you just gotta let it ride, baby. Get it out as fast as you can. None of this diamond hands.
Make your money and get the fuck out. Well, so I really admire the accountability that you're taking. Looking back at it though, do you regret going public? Do you think you should have maybe stayed private, maybe gone public at a later time?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't look back at things as regrets, as saying, because you make the best decisions that you can with where you are, and then you make better decisions later with what you know, right? So that's how I've always tried to live my life.
For sure.
And going public is a two-edged sword. And going public early is a two-edged sword because the VC route is very similar to the public route in many ways, other than there's more liquidity in the public route. So if you go the VC route, you're going to raise some money from family and friends if you can. And then you're going to try and find some sort of angel investors if you can. And that generally means going through angel forums, your pitch competitions, etc. So you're still spending money and time to go out there and raise money through the angel networks. And then if you're so fortunate, you might get a sort of a seed round or a Series A from VCs, venture capitalists, right? And then those venture capitalists are going to take you to Series D, and then they're going to exit you. So that route the benefits is that you're not beholden to the swings of the capital market. But the downside is your money channels are quite limited, right? Whereas once you're public, there's more access to capital because there's more liquidity in the markets. So investors feel a little bit less concerned about writing you a check because if things aren't going so well, that theoretically they can pull it out through the liquidity of the markets, right? And nobody likes, like, one of the reasons people don't like a boat cruise is because you can't get off, right? It's like one of my buddies, he's like, whenever I go into a bar, he's like, where's the 2 exits? so sometimes it's an easier mechanism to raise capital. And the second benefit is if your stock is doing okay, your stock becomes a second currency. So it's a second currency to incentivize potential talent, to maybe make transactions happen, etc.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, both work or neither work depending on the success of the company. That's it. Right? Like so good sales make companies work.
Yeah.
Bad sales make companies suffer.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm not thinking that one was the right path or the wrong path or too soon or not too soon. It was just, it comes down to, if you've been given money to execute, execute. And if you didn't take enough money or you didn't execute, then that's on you. Right? And so whatever happened to Naked, I'd taken on as me.
Yeah.
I was given the money to execute and we didn't get there, right? That's not the market's fault for punishing us. We did it.
Speaking of execution, what do you think is going to be, what's the plan now for Naked? What are we going to execute on now?
Oh, no, hold on. Before we get there, what happened between the past 3 years? So from 2021 to now, what have you been doing?
That's the $1 million question, right? I've made a few films, a few TV shows.
Wait, what?
Written a book. Yeah. Had done a lot of consulting for various companies. Yeah, took my kids around the world. What happened was, right at the time Naked ended, one of my really good friends died. He's a guy I traveled with early in my life, and I didn't know this, but he had a heart condition and never told me. He was actually an investor in Naked. And he had 2 girls, my girl's age, so young kids. And my world was rocked when I found out. And I had that epiphany of like, okay, not then, now. Now is the time to do this, to take my girls around the world. And I was a little bit frustrated with, I kept seeing on the media, it was like the year of fear, the world's a terrible place, the world's full of bad, scary people and terrorism and this and that. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, and so I wanted to show my girls firsthand. So we made a film called Raising Global Citizens, and we took our girls to Vietnam, Colombia, Argentina, Beirut, and Taiwan. I'm spacing on Yukon, the Yukon in Canada. And we dedicated the film to my buddy Cam, who passed away.
Oh, wow.
And so that became a major focus of the time in between then and now, was getting that out there. And then I didn't want to get back in underwear.
Yeah.
That's good.
What's that about?
I'll tell you later.
Dude, okay, so you've ended up in hospital.
Yeah.
I know the toll it takes to start something. So you have to make that decision very consciously. And I'm not in the same place. I got 3 kids. I'm not 20 anymore, right? And so every decision I make affects the lives of people who depend on me, right? And so I needed to step into it knowing that I could manage that better than I did. There's always going to be an imbalance when you jump into something, right? So my friend is like, you just need to do it. And I kept getting phone calls. Why don't you start another underwear line? Start another underwear line. Start another underwear line. Can't get that underwear anywhere. I was like, oh my God, please don't keep calling me, because then I'm going to have to start another underwear line, right? And so I finally bit the bullet, but this is a bit different this time. So I'm still doing I'm still doing underwear. This company's called Naked Revival. But this time I'm trying to turn it into a holistic lifestyle company. Now we're actually doing underwear, we're doing skincare, we're doing supplementation, we're maybe doing even some online learning. And the idea is actually to focus on routines and supporting people with like just the essentials for their routines, so that they can have this kick-ass routine that helps them achieve whatever they want in life. And that really puts all the facets of my whole life together, the things that I care about, and packaging that in a simple way. So the idea is like with Naked, it's pulling everything back to its bare, it's just most pure sense, it's bare essentials. And then Revival is, what am I going to take with me that I absolutely love, that I absolutely need, that absolutely serves me? What are those products? So that's Naked Revival in a nutshell. But it's also just, nothing's easy. You guys know this. But it's also a little bit easier because I know a lot of people in the space. I know all the factories now. I don't have to Google search how to make underwear this time around.
But also, you'd have connections with distributors.
Yes.
To get in store. Is it already in stores?
No, we haven't launched yet.
Oh, you haven't launched yet?
In a couple weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
Couple weeks, we'll do a soft launch.
Okay.
And this time you have AI as well.
I know.
But also,
what am I doing? What am I doing with AI? Tell me. Teach me.
Maybe. Oh, okay. So you could get AI models to model your underwear.
Yeah.
That could
How
work.
close are we on that now? Where they look good?
Okay, wait. You want me to show you something?
Yeah,
Blow
show
your
me.
fucking mind. Okay. So
in my opinion, we're not there yet. He recently did some with AI.
no,
I didn't love it.
Oh, wait,
I keep a buck with you. We didn't talk about
I
it yet,
didn't
but
love it either. Okay, well, so
we're
I'll
not
show you.
there
So the more
I think
or
the
less-
consensus is we're not there yet, but we're not very,
okay,
very
we're
far.
not very far.
Yeah.
So this whole Instagram account is AI. So that's like a fake girl pretending, or well, it literally says AI, but like it will literally just get horny men to send her money.
Yes.
More or less. So I think, and that's like probably some guy in fucking India doing it. I'm sure that there's something, and even if it's not out now, we're talking like within weeks, if not days, that this technology is improving at. So.
Yeah. Well, it's so much more exponential.
Insanely
Right.
exponential.
The rate of change is going to fry brains.
But I would actually say just regular, which you didn't have 10 years ago, but like regular Instagram models now. There's a big bag to be made there.
Oh,
you
yeah.
have them wearing the
TikTokers,
product.
yeah.
You know, and
I think influencer
sharing it.
marketing, AI with influencer marketing go crazy.
There was actually a bikini line in LA that went absolutely crazy. LA Boutine or Boutine LA.
I don't know.
But it's basically an LA based swimwear, specifically bikinis only. And like they crushed it with just social media and just the hottest girls they could find pretty much.
It's a very simple blueprint.
Yeah.
Right. On the flip side of that, because it's a simple blueprint, it's a saturated space to win in, right?
Exactly.
So you still have to ask yourself the question, okay, well, how do I seize the microphone? What is it that I'm doing that's going to cut through all that noise? You know, Kardashian's brand, but the brand's name is eluding me, and
Skims?
No, not Skims. Skims obviously on the backbone of Kim is going to crush it.
Yeah.
Fashion Nova.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was like, okay, it went from big time, like, you needed big influencers, to Fashion Nova kind of paved the way for micro influencers to be like, well, no, you just need all influencers and you just canvas the market, right? And they won with that strategy. And now we're in the era where it's like the Jake Pauls, the Kim Kardashians, it's like the super influencer who has some equity in the brand is going to drive a lot of that, because there's still a degree of inauthenticity with a lot of influencers.
Yes.
Like our intel with the various PR firms that we talk to is like, okay, that person might have 80 million followers. That doesn't mean she has influence.
Yeah.
Yes.
At least with the products she's trying to push, right?
Yes.
So you still have to play that game as authentically as you can. And now AI is going to come along, and we're going to have this influx of content. So we're already at fever pitch with content. We're in an eyeballs economy. We only have so much attention to give, and yet the content is going to exponentially be created. Like, think about memes. Like right now, memes are the way that new generation communicates, right?
It's so weird, but yeah.
Right? AI can produce memes like that, right? So now all of a sudden memes will come to a point where they become memeliness. That was terrible. That's a dad joke, right?
No, I like that.
And so what's next? And that's where people need to think.
Yeah.
What's next? Your idea, OnlyFans 2.0, right? More scalable. Cheaper.
Very scalable, yeah.
Right? Very scalable. I don't know if I agree with.
Yeah, no, me neither.
But dude, we actually had a guy on our podcast before. He's like an OnlyFans account manager, helps girls scale their OnlyFans, right? And he's talking about like they've not using AI, but they've been using like assistants in like real humans in like Philippines and pay them pennies, and they would actually be the messaging.
Yep.
They'd have dudes replying for girls, right?
I had a buddy doing that.
Yeah, but do you think we go to the point where like now not only is it not the same person replying to the real human, but now we got an AI replying to the like that's so
100%.
weird.
That already happens though. I
Do you
think
think
I'm pretty
people
sure there's like
are
AI
that
therapists.
foolish?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, bro, there's like AI therapists.
I know, I understand for therapy, fine, makes sense. But I mean, like for like, is there someone out there so horny they're willing to pay money to a computer?
100%.
Really?
Already exists AI intimacy, man. Because see,
That's crazy.
Because the thing about intimacy is intimacy can be cultivated kind of formulaically, right?
Okay.
I look you in the eyes, touch your hand.
Should I leave the room?
Yeah, please. Just 2 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yeah, oh my God.
No, I don't need 5. No, I say something, right? There's a formula to intimacy.
Yes.
Right? Push and pull. Say something you like, say something you don't like, etc. Create some tension. AI already can duplicate that intimacy better than a human, because what happens with a human is the human's own insecurities and emotions get in the way
Yes.
of, it's like, let's say you're my wife and I'm trying to create intimacy and then you fucking say something that
pisses you off.
me off.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all of a
yeah,
sudden I'm out of formula.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
out of
yeah,
my body, right?
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
man, I've been working hard all day. You know? So
Well, it's only happened to married men.
you're right. Maybe. So that's one side of it, is that like if you're going to have a relationship with an AI, that AI is going to, you're feeding that AI everything it needs to know about what it is that you like.
Yeah.
And therefore it's going to own you.
Bro, it'd be more or less perfect.
It's right.
But okay, without being extremely vulgar, but like, how far off is that from just prostitution?
You mean,
Because like,
Like-
think about it. If you're replacing a real relationship with
Yeah.
with the computer, you may as well, have a prostitute, and at least it's a real human, and they're gonna do and please you however you like.
No,
Wow.
but there's probably
You know what I mean?
on an emotional, like one-on-one, like forget the physical part.
Yeah.
AI is probably better than a prostitute.
Oh, you think on an emotional level?
theoretically it's more humane, right? I mean, we're talking about, the thing is we're talking about the oldest profession in the world, right? Is like people buying pleasure,
Yes.
sexual pleasure, because they need it and it's not easy to cultivate. And there's so much attached to it, right? Like we're just out of the era. And say we're out of the era, but like in the last 10 years, there was the escort business has blown up, right? The Dubai chick, not girl from Dubai, just meaning rich girl goes to Dubai
Or
girl
poor
goes to
goes to
Dubai to
Dubai
meet
then,
rich
yeah.
guy, right? Instagram changed this, like it all
Yeah, yeah,
changed
yeah,
the game,
yeah.
right? And it was like this relationship is easier, but the downside is this relationship has no stakes, and stakes are how we grow as a human being.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
yeah.
this constant trade-off that we're in right now is, I want to take all the risk out of my life. Same thing as entrepreneurship we're talking about, right? I want to outsource all the potential pain, all the potential risk, all the potential side effects. I want universal basic income. I want to be taken care of, and I just want to live this safe life of pleasure. Who do we become in that scenario, right? And then it's on a spectrum, because like on that spectrum, there are people who they've had a lot of trauma in their life, and all of a sudden AI intimacy provides them something wonderful that they feel inside that they do not have the confidence to go seek out there in that world. And I caution saying in the real world, because that line is going to be so blurred, right?
But the difficult thing for me to wrap my head around this concept is, I understand what you mean by the person is in need of this.
Yeah.
However, if we band-aid it with, okay, no worries, you don't need to go in the real world and find this to satiate this desire you have. Instead, you go on your computer. Isn't that just going to handicap that person in like his other areas or her other areas in life?
Yeah. I'm in
Like that's the danger of it.
Where do you stand?
Well, yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I'm not saying we should shield this everywhere and make this a thing. It's just gonna be a thing.
That's the thing. Like
that's scary.
I had this one investor, one of my companies. He had a sex doll business, like smoking hot. Like those sex dolls were smoking hot. And this is not AI, because it's a sex doll, and they would drop this sex doll off. And he had a very human reason for his reason for doing this seemed to be authentically rooted in compassion, to be that this gives somebody a safe outlet to do something that makes them feel human. I can't understand that in the same way because I'm not in that person's shoes, but the way that he explained it to me gave me a little shift on it, and that's what we're talking. AI is just the next thing, right? Like they have, I believe this exists today. I don't have it. You might have it. Is you can just attach your AI to your panties and just it can vibrate and
well, you were telling me about that the other day, right? Like you bought them.
Yeah. Right?
What the fuck?
Showed up Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Right at the studio, not at his house.
Oh, God.
You opened it. But here's the really interesting part
For a second,
about
I
it.
thought you said he ordered it. I'm like, oh, this guy's looking at me. What the fuck?
I'm not picking on you. I apologize, Umar. But but here's the really interesting part where it shifts into this thing's pretending to be a human. Is that you can have it go on its own accord. So you're not saying pleasure me. It's determining when it pleasures you.
So you just wear it all day? What if you're at fucking work or something? That's fucking terrible.
Don't call me at work kind of thing. And it's like, oh, I can't say no. It's like that kind of vibe. But now you're in a relationship with this AI.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, this is sad.
Right?
This is actually fucking sad.
Well, speaking of sad, have you seen all these fucking fat models recently?
Did the temperature just rise in here a little bit?
Oh man.
You're asking.
All right, boys. I'll see you tomorrow.
You don't want to get canceled today, do you?
Let's talk about it real quick.
Sure.
Let's rapid fire this because this is a subject that a lot of people are scared to talk about. But I think we can talk about it.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Sure.
I think it's important to talk about.
It is.
so
It's
too.
along the same.
It's the same thing. We just saw we're shitting on this AI software.
Listen,
You're fat.
I'll try and answer this. I'm not so good at the rapid fire stuff, but let's look at it this way. Like what happened was Dove, I can't remember the year, Dove brands came out with inclusivity ads, right? It was badass. It was so badass because what they did was they said everything that's happening out there is all the same, and we're going to turn this on its head, and we're going to cater to this new market. And it was inspiring, and it was rebellious to what the norm was, and they were rewarded with a lot of money. They made a lot of money doing it. And then what happened was inclusivity became this politicized, corrupted word where instead of being what it was, it now today is essentially hate and insecurity masquerading as compassion. It's a bit of like, if I can't be who I want to be or achieve that, I'm just going to pull you down to my level and cancel you. And cancel, essentially, this whole movement morphed into cancel culture, which was antithetical to the whole thing of inclusivity. It created a sea of sameness where every brand just started to look the same.
Yeah.
And it started to kill creativity because it was like, if you don't, like if we all had a pause, right? Before we started talking about this. That is terrible for the world. It's terrible for the world to say, oh, well, if I do this thing, what's going to happen to me? That's the fear that it's created, right? And it's put these guardrails around men. It's put these guardrails around culture. And people are tired of it, right? There was always enough room in the market for plus-size models and inclusivity and Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
Calvin Klein did not need to go into, into all that stuff. There's always enough room.
100%.
And now, and all of these culture wars have morphed out of it, and we get siloed and we hate each other. And it's like, dude, none of this needs to happen.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
It's insane. Like, especially how quickly it changed too.
I mean, isn't it scary how violent we can be in our search for social justice?
Oh yeah.
Like how violent we've watched each other become, at least in the digital world. Because when we go back to travel filming, that doesn't exist. The echo chambers don't exist on the streets of your everyday life. don't go to visit your neighbor and it's like, oh, you know, I hate you, your political views. Generally, there's that felt sense of we're both humans.
Yes.
Which kind of brings back to what you were saying about the AI piece scaring you with, there's that non-human connection piece to that when you're being intimate with an AI, right? So, I mean, I've never had a problem with the plus size models thing. I have a problem with inclusivity at all costs.
I agree.
Simple.
I think it's cool.
It's equity versus equality, right? It can't be fucking everywhere. It has to be where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And there's always a correction when change is happening in the culture. There's a correction. Mm-hmm. But like people, this goes back to what I was saying about know the sharks you're swimming with, know what you're being leveraged for. There's this famous story about the Buddhists and the Baptists. Sorry, not the Buddhists and the Baptists. What is it? The bootleggers. The bootleggers and the Baptists. Okay. And both of them wanted prohibition. The Baptists wanted it for religious reasons. The bootleggers wanted it to keep selling illegal booze. It's their business predicated on it. So the bootleggers leveraged the Baptists' cause, and the Baptists are thinking, oh, this is great, but I mean, they're selling booze. Mm. So when you have to realize in this day and age, like, when are you being leveraged? When is your DEI? When is your inclusivity being leveraged to sell you something? Being leveraged to get your vote, vote with your dollar, your vote for the government. Don't be naive to that. You can still be a champion for it, but don't be blind. Don't think, oh, they all care about it. They'll just shift as the culture shifts.
Yeah.
They're just always going to do that.
I think like the biggest example of that is the fact that we went from like, okay, we need diversity. Okay, cool. Diversity is great. I'm a person of color. We've been the bad guys for a while now. Now it's time for us to get some love, I guess. Yeah. But now it's like, we're not just being diverse. It's now also we're putting a handicap on the straight white male. It's like, what the fuck is that? Like, why did that have to happen? Yeah. And it's like, you're a white male. You're a straight white male. Like, fuck, you're probably seeing that too. Like, again, it's just so, it's like there has to be a divide. And like, there's just this divide that's constantly being created. And if it's not being created, it's being amplified. And it's like, when does this all end?
Because it can be leveraged for power.
Exactly.
And it can be leveraged for money. And it is right now. And it is, again, you made the point. Change is always needed. Yeah. But we don't cancel our way to change. Yeah. We don't shame our way to change. It's a hard thing to talk about, right? Because some point in the next 2 minutes, I'm going to put my foot in my mouth, right?
This is the part where we take over. Right?
Yeah, boys, can you handle this one? Like, I'm really not. This isn't my moment.
Yeah.
Oh shit! No. How can I speak to this fairly? Like, I think one thing I've learned in the last 2 years to really try and start everything I have from the place of I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong, and therefore I have the right to change my mind. And if I start from a place of I'm wrong, then I'm open to hearing other things, right? And it gets rid of like the ism aspect of it. It's like scientism, religion, like all the isms that turn things from like a straight up idea to I can't. There's no other way. And all of a sudden we form these walls. But I get what you're saying, because what we've had is not just a disservice to the straight white male. It's a disservice to everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
And let me explain my reason for that. My belief in that is that at the top, I think meritocracy is a good thing, right? So the idea that there's sort of a competition to have the best person earn that spot because of both their competency and how they, how much they want to be in that role. You want to be in the NBA? Well, you have to be gifted with certain genetics, but you also there's a lot of people gifted with those genetics. So you have to
work hard. Real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. This is okay. So
I'm curious.
Cut you off, but so my good friend Umar here, he has this belief, right? Yeah. That he genuinely believes. You're 5'8"?
Yeah.
5'8". How much you weigh?
200 pounds.
200 pounds. he genuinely believes, and you're 24, that if he wanted to, right now, he could make the NBA. What do you have to say to him?
No, there's context.
There's no context.
There's 100% context. There's no, that's not what I said.
Okay, bro, come on, give me a little context.
He needs context. He needs context.
Okay, sure.
I said, and it's not just me, it's anyone. If someone wanted to earn, okay, if I wanted to be in the basketball and that was the only thing I wanted to be in the NBA and that was the only thing I wanted to do, I think there's a way that I would eventually make it there.
You mean like in like a Rudy-esque kind of way?
In like a what way?
Rudy? The movie, Rudy?
Oh,
boys.
We're young.
I think we're too young for that.
Oh, boys. Okay, Rudy's this story about this football player who comes from this small town. It's nobody from that town ever gets out. His grades are shit. And he wants to play for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish football team, and nobody believes in him. And he goes to this school, and he has to go to this junior college first. He becomes a walk-on, and then he gets to play, spoiler alert, like the last game of his 4th year at the school, right? He gets one play.
Right, but he was a kid.
And he did it.
He did it.
He did it. But the point
you're
is,
24. You're expired.
But the point this is crazy.
Give up. No.
This is crazy. No, but the point is like, and the NBA was just an example. I actually have no passion for basketball. I don't really watch basketball like that. But the point is, as a human being, no, you gotta let me finish.
I get your point, though. I get your point. Everyone understands your point.
Yeah.
But this specific example,
yeah.
From a scale of 1 to 10, how crazy is he?
On that specific example? I mean, conceptually, you can do whatever you want to do. I believe in that to an extent.
So do I, 100%.
But it has to be grounded in reality, Umar.
But here's the thing, right? First of all, name one genius that ain't crazy, Kanye West. Yeah. All right, but second of all, is hypothetically speaking, let's just say, because the basketball example is bad because I'm not really into basketball. Right? I can even.
But you said it. Word for
I've
word.
said it.
So you take it back?
But no. I'll
so
run
you
with it
still
right
think?
Now.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's just say today I had an
feel
epiphany.
like this is a take back. Okay, keep going.
No, today I had an epiphany that I want to make it to the NBA, right?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do everything in my power to make it there. Maybe I'm on an extreme diet, workout, hire the best coach, etc. Right? I think if I put 100% effort in, that eventually, maybe, with a little bit of luck, I'd probably be in the NBA.
You're so delusional.
I swear to God. It sounds crazy, but like,
no, it doesn't.
The mind is that powerful,
It doesn't
bro.
just sound crazy.
The mind is that powerful.
But you don't think there's like a 6'3" black guy, insane genetics doing exactly that right now?
But what if he didn't want it as bad as I did?
Oh, right, makes sense.
What if he didn't deserve it? What if he didn't deserve it as bad as I did? Because remember, Charlie Munger says the world is not yet a crazy enough place to reward a bunch of undeserving people, right? So if I deserved it, wanted it, and put in the work, yeah, bro, maybe probably make it to the NBA. Be one of the shortest players in history, but.
I don't know, man. I think that it's that thought process sets you on a course that's going to take you somewhere. I'm not sure it's taking you to the court.
But but here's another thing, right? The byproduct of this, let's just say, right? Obviously, there's genetic factors involved too, and I'm not genetically gifted to be a basketball player, right? But let's just say I went on this route, right? And worst case scenario, I didn't make it to the NBA, but now I'm like, they're like, and let's just say I use social media, like, this guy was trying to make it to NBA, transfer his life. Maybe I'd have a whole new career opportunity of training other players to make the NBA. Or maybe,
now you're gonna train.
That's what I just said.
Or maybe they're gonna make me like one of them announcers or something. Yeah, you might make another route.
Now you're gonna teach people to do something that you've never done before. Perfect.
Yeah. Those who can't do teach, right?
There we go.
Those who can't do teach.
I don't reckon if you went to like India and there was like Indian basketball league, sure, I think you probably make that. Maybe.
Yeah.
But bro,
don't sleep on them, bro. The guys tall too.
No, I know, but I'm saying like I think you have a much better shot there than fucking here.
You're certainly not going to make it to the NBA.
Yeah, like
if you don't have that attitude. So that's the starting point, right? But at the end of the day, meritocracy. How many players in the NBA? How many players in the NBA farm team, et cetera, et cetera? Like you're talking about the net
0.01%.
0.01%. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's a really tough thing, and I feel like it's an unfair question.
It is, right? And the thing is, like, Radies takes it literally, right? But the point I'm trying to make is, if someone thinks what they want to do and they go all in, they're going to make it happen, right?
They're going to end up somewhere.
100%.
Right?
Bro,
they're going to end up somewhere.
100%.
And they're going to end up somewhere than where they are today. And the difference, and what you talk about, that Charlie Munger point, is like, they're going to end up somewhere because they went after it and they didn't ask for a handout.
Yeah.
They didn't want, like, you know what I mean? And that's the critical part that you're talking about that I respect.
Yeah.
But dog,
No, it's respectable.
You're not going to the NBA.
It's adorable. It's like, you know, like a little kid comes by and is like, I want to be an astronaut. It's like, yeah, good job, buddy. It's
No,
like
but
one of those, you know?
yeah, no, for sure. But the thing is, the reason why I use a basketball example, I just want it to be so absurd because there's a lot of people who have the physical gifts. Maybe someone has the right height, right, has the right build, but mentally they're thinking instantly what you just said to me is like, no, only 0.01% make the NBA.
Yeah.
So this person who's genetically gifted, who actually might have had a shot, is now mentally clocked out.
Yeah.
There's too many people trying, right?
I mean,
I'm not the best example to be a basketball player, but it was one of those ones where I wanted to make a point. I needed to be absurd. It worked because we bring it up so many times on the podcast.
No, it's because you still think you're right about
No.
Okay. Let's forget stuff.
all I'll close on is like, it's who you become on that chosen journey, right?
Yeah.
That is because you do not get to choose the outcomes of your life.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
do not.
Yeah.
No matter, that is a delusion that is sold to us.
Yeah.
You want to go to the NBA, maybe, or maybe what happens on the way to trying that is you become the best version of yourself.
Yeah, they sell tickets too. You can actually go there.
But you know,
Yeah, define the goal correctly, right?
but you know the crazy thing is sometimes NBA does celebrity matches, and then
See
these
that?
famous people play,
100%. I agree.
and then bro,
charity matches.
verbatim,
Yeah.
I think they have one for people with handicaps as
bada
well.
bing, bada boom.
Okay, well, I forgot what we were talking about. Did you want to?
Derailed the point completely.
I'm not touching that one.
Yeah.
I forgot what we were talking about. Was there a point that you want to finish, or did you want to? We can move on to the.
Here's I'll finish the point
Yeah.
on this idea of like equality,
Yeah.
meritocracy, right? So I like the idea of equality at the bottom, where we spread that opportunity to the young, right, and find a way to do that. But here's the thing: where I think it loses the plot is that it tries to fit everybody into this society-shaped person, where it's like it's an individual journey, right? And at some point, no matter how many opportunities you've been given, you still have to make a leap and a choice. You still have to go into the darkness. You still have to find out who you can become. You still have to struggle against the demons in yourself and the demons in the real world. And that's how you become the best version of yourself. And I don't want structures that make us weaker. I want people who go on their own journey to discover who it is that they can become, whatever that framework or that journey looks like. And I think that's what we're losing in all this. Like back in the day, it was all about the rite of passage. The boy becomes the man. How? Well, there's literal ways. He puts the glove with the bullet ants on, or he spends the week in the jungle surviving. And women, it was birth was one of the ways. The incredibly challenging, yet unbelievably rewarding process of natural childbirth, right? These were rites of passage that made people strong. And that's what I don't want to lose with all of trying to fit everything into these frameworks that make everything look perfect, because that doesn't matter. We build strong societies based on strong people, and we become strong people based on facing challenges, not having everything handed to us so that it's fair along the way. We have to make that choice no matter what we were given. And that was the point I was making. And that's something I think we're losing very rapidly, and we have to figure out how to bring it back. Did you talk about that in Seeking Success?
Not like that.
No. Okay. But that's the spirit of it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you ended up in hospital, think about it. Like, it's called, listen, it's not my idea. It's Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, right? And it's the idea of like, if you think about the structure of a movie or the structure of a story, the hero goes out, is called to adventure, and he has to become this thing to ultimately slay the beast.
Yeah.
But generally, he loses that. The ego is so bad that he loses some battles along the way, and he has to find himself or herself again, become this greater thing. We cannot deny people the opportunity to struggle. It doesn't work. It doesn't build strong people. It builds weak people. And so even if everything is handed to us, we should reject it. That's what the Buddha did. The Buddha was a prince, right? The Buddha was a prince that his father, the king, tried to shelter him from all the hardships of the world. Like one of the times he like saw some death, and the dad's like, quick, get 40,000 virgins in here, like, you know, AKA OnlyFans or Pornhub, right? Like it's all the same stuff. Eventually he rejected it all. And he said, no, I want to be in the harshness of the world. And that eventually led the Buddha to sit under the tree. And he still, at that point, after he was more or less enlightened enough to make that choice, still had to face all the demons before he transcended completely, right? Mm-hmm. And yet, we talk about in religion and in life these markers, and we think, well, we can just have that. No. There's a lot between here and there that you just the right amount of struggling leads to the best life. You can get there. Is this too deep for this podcast?
No, it's actually,
I was like,
man.
Okay.
Because usually we have a lot of degenerate stuff going on. In the podcast.
It's good to have stuff like this, you know. Might go home and read the Power now again.
You get some diversity on this podcast. No, I appreciate. I'm passionate about it because as a father of kids, I look at, well, what's that world? Are they going to have to go meet their partner by? I mean, okay, I'll flip the switch here. You guys got girlfriends or?
I'm actually married.
Married. So how'd you meet your wife?
At high school.
So you had to ask her out?
Yes.
You nervous?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
The dating app already removes some of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? I'm not saying the dating app is bad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't want to lose that tension that makes us make harder choices and become stronger people through that.
For sure.
And I know that they're going to grow up in this world where all the powers that be and all the technologies, right now the idea is how can we create the easiest world possible for people. I don't want the easiest world possible. I want AI to help people create. I want opportunity. Like social media has a lot of downfalls, but it also created a lot of millionaires.
Yeah.
I love that.
For sure.
You know that old expression, like money doesn't grow on trees, like our parents used to tell us that? It absolutely does. It's called new industry. It's called, we're podcasting. And this is a new industry. 10 years ago when I launched Naked, podcasts didn't exist.
Not a thing, yeah.
Right? So I want all that, but I don't want all that at the expense of struggle. So
you're spitting facts.
That was a mic drop moment, man. That's a mic drop moment. I want to ask you, because since we're getting so deep into things, and the first thing that raised was earlier when you're saying, when you're on your entrepreneur journey, you're losing touch with your daughter, you're traveling 200 days out of the year, your wife is saying, this is it. How did you recover that? Because I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs can relate.
Are you going through something right now?
No, but you know what's crazy? I'm glad you said it. I feel like I'm definitely not at that point, but me and my wife on a regular basis have the conversation where she's like, when are you going to pause the work and when are we going to chill, right? And then now we start scheduling date nights, so there's times to turn it off. But I feel like maybe I'm a couple years away from getting to the point you're at where you're so involved in your work where you kind of,
Yeah, but with your religion.
Yeah.
Do you find that your religion provides a structure for a healthy marriage?
Could you give me more context to the question?
Well, let's look at statistically. I don't have the exact numbers, but generally speaking, people who of faith, by the rules and the letter of their books, they're supposed to stay together. Divorce is generally a sin, etc. So the incentive, eternity in some cases, right? Salvation, etc., is to stay together.
Yes.
Because so, however many years ago, divorce was sort of popularized and then it exploded, right? And we realized that destroyed a lot of homes.
Yes.
And now there's a move back to tradition. The framework of tradition creates a framework to stay together, to try and build stability in a relationship despite relationships being hard.
Yes.
Like really hard.
Yes.
But that's the choice.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. It's like, do you have a framework that says...
In our religion, necessarily, divorce is actually permitted in Islam. You're allowed to get divorced, right? If the case is that bad.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But I don't want to be that guy, like religion, everything, right? So in my personal relationship, I wouldn't say necessarily religion is the reason we're staying together. We're both religious, so I guess that kind of helps.
I'm not saying it's the reason you're staying together. I'm saying, does it provide a framework that helps you grow together as a couple?
Yeah, I guess so. Because we believe we're going to be spending eternity together, right? After we pass away, we'll continue in heaven, hopefully, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's outlawed in any religion. I'm just saying that tradition provides a framework to say, hey, we're in a bad patch. I'm not going to run away. at least I'm going to try
Yes.
to figure this out. And,
Yes.
and maybe this book provides me some
Yes.
context. And so I'm of the generation where a lot of the parents were divorced,
Yeah.
right? So a lot of my parents, a lot of my friends' parents were divorced. You guys parents together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine are, my wife's aren't.
Right. It's a beautiful thing. And what they've realized, and I mean, both you just realize it anecdotally, is like, man, being a child of divorced parents is kind of shitty. Like, it creates a lot of, it tears you apart, right? It causes attachment issues. It causes you to blame yourself for what's happened. And stronger families and stronger societies come generally from stronger families, right? It generally all begins in the home. We both came from divorced homes. We saw what that did to us. We saw the trauma it caused us. We knew going into our relationship that we were young, we would have to grow together, but we didn't want to get divorced. We didn't want to take that path if we didn't have to. So that was the baseline.
Okay.
Right? We'll do everything we can to reconcile, to cultivate this relationship where we're both growing. And when that imbalance happens, which we had, she reminded me of that. And the I will leave was not I've left. It was
Yes.
right. And that's a challenge. That's no different than any challenge. It's, can I level up as a man to be what she needs, and can she as my partner also continue to be what I need, and how do we keep finding that balance, right? That's always going to shift and change when you guys become you're already killing it, and when you're 10 times bigger than this, it's all going to shift again.
Sure.
That's one of the things when people self-sabotage, it's because they're afraid of what's going to happen. They don't even know it. And so as long as you're prepared to keep leveling up, you will keep finding solutions to relationships, to what's going on in yourself. And you just have to keep looking on the inside and saying, like, how am I causing this? Well, I wasn't in balance, right? And so we had to figure that out. And you make the choice. Because it ain't easier on the other side. You go find Joel's being a wanker, like, I'm going to go find somebody else. Then all the problems just go there.
Well, what the great thing is with Umar, he's Muslim, right? So you just get a second wife.
Crazy.
Damn, dog. That's nice.
Crazy.
How many? Is it like
I think there's actually a limit of 4, but I don't think a lot of people in Canada practice that. So people in Canada don't really practice that.
Where do they practice it?
Like back in like Muslim countries specifically, yeah.
Well, that's perfect.
What's your take on it?
Multiple wives?
Yeah.
Be very careful. She might be watching.
No. And I'm personally, I'm like a classic romantic, right? Like, I basically married the first girl I dated, right? So I'm a lover, right? So I'm not really into that. But I mean, there are people who, if they are financially able to have multiple wives, the same way a lot of cultures have multiple girlfriends, to them, sure.
Can 3 of them be AI wives?
Oh, God.
And I also just realized the difference between you two. So I'm guessing you went to the prom after party and then you ended up marrying her. And you did it.
Crazy.
But that's a good thing, because now I'm married to the right person. I'll tell you something interesting my wife said. I don't even know if my wife liked me that much when we got married. Because I was not showing up as a very strong man, right? But she said there was something inside her that just knew. And she was willing to see where that could go.
For sure.
Right? I think women are so good at finding like a guy's potential and like believe, like they see that shit so early. It's crazy.
100%.
So okay, now we're gonna go into a rapid fire round. But for this one, I want to actually add a bonus question to the start, just because I'm very curious. So basically, the way this works is first thing that comes to your mind, just gotta let us know, okay? And we're not gonna set you up. Don't worry.
Entrapment.
Who would you say are some of the most greatest entrepreneurs of all time?
I mean, easy. Elon Musk is number one. I mean, he's the GOAT.
Anyone else?
I mean, there's so many. There's so many that we don't hear about, but right now, Elon Musk comes to mind.
Okay.
Who would you say? I'm just curious. Yeah.
I would say, do you guys know Naval Ravikant? Yeah, him.
Well, Naval's like a
he's a
philosopher's
he's just fucking.
I mean, he's everything. Naval's
he's
great.
super smart. Maybe even Peter Thiel. Peter. I don't know
Yeah,
if I'm saying
the
his name
venture
right.
capitalist Peter Thiel. I guess I didn't think about in the same way I didn't think about Peter Thiel as an entrepreneur.
I kind of just put them in. Maybe business person is a better word to use. Right?
I'm really. I apologize to all the badass entrepreneurs. I'm doing a disservice.
Oh, there's
to.
a lot of good ones.
Entrepreneur. Here. Let me just. I know it's rapid fire. I love that Elon made so much money, and then risked it all.
Yeah, what
on
a
Tesla.
fucking G.
Like
What a
right
G.
down to zero.
Such a goat.
Again and again. So that's
Yeah.
right. Like he's the man in the arena.
I'm
Saving
gonna go
free
with Steve
speech.
Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a
he was my
pedophile, I
number
heard.
2.
I'm kidding.
Oh, was he on the list?
I heard he was
Is he on the
list?
list?
Is he
On
on the list?
on who is it? Whose island was
Epstein-
that? Epstein
Epstein's
Island's
island.
list.
Mr. Jeffrey.
Steve.
It's okay.
Yeah, he was a humble guy, bro. Steve Jobs. This is a
Is that you heard it here first now? Did
Yeah.
you guys start that conspiracy right now?
What, the
That
Epstein
Steve-
Island?
No, that Steve was on the list.
I don't know. I never.
thought he
I don't
was.
know. I didn't see the list.
Or maybe I'm misinformed.
There's, I mean, the thing about entrepreneurship is like there's so many guys who none of us have heard of heard of that are killing.
Killers.
Just
Sam
killers.
Ovens. I see Sam Ovens. I'll put him on
Yeah,
the list. You know Sam Ovens?
I know the name. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So the final four. If you had to swap lives with someone for 24 hours, who would you pick?
A Dead or Alive?
We can
Either
go
or.
either or.
Anthony Bourdain,
Anthony. That's the.
travel host. He's deceased now.
Okay.
But he had a show called Parts Unknown, Layover, and that guy used to travel the world and have the most incredible meals with the most incredible characters. That guy tapped into humanity.
The name's so familiar.
I think I know
but-
what he's talking about. It was an old TV show, right?
Yeah. He unfortunately passed away 5 years ago now, 6 years ago now.
Okay.
Anyway, that guy's
Fair.
my
Cool.
Hero?
got my heart.
Yeah,
man.
it sounds like you really like travel, man.
Yeah.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
All right, next question is who would you say is the most motivating person of all time for you personally?
My father.
Okay.
My father has been trying to make it as a musician since he was 16, and he still hasn't, but he's done it. He's made so much incredible. Okay, he hasn't made it in the way that he wants to make it. In my eyes, growing up watching him play guitar, play piano hearing it when I was going to sleep, seeing that he's never stopped for 40, 50 years pursuing the same dream. He's risked it all when he was 50.
Wow.
Quit his job, cashed out all his savings to try and fund a few different albums. And he plays very regularly. I know it's not the level he wants to, and his dedication to it is incredibly inspiring to me.
What's his artist name?
His Corey Primus.
Okay.
Yeah, you can check him out on Spotify.
There we go.
Yeah,
Spotify
there's a
plug.
big shout out there.
I think we should be fine. I don't think you need to open it. I think we should be fine. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Let's just say, okay, so you're gonna like this one. So from the
Yeah.
day you were born till now, your whole life is written in a book. What would the title of that book be called?
I'm gonna plug it. Getting Naked. The
Getting
book I
Naked.
wrote.
Yeah.
And I say I didn't want to do a shameless plug, but the reason is like the idea of shedding the layers to get back to try and figure out who you are, not show up as somebody you're not. That's been a hard journey for me. To not try and people please, to not to just be a nice guy, to try and make everybody happy, to try and do what people wanted. I just did too much of that. So Getting Naked, which is my own book, by the way.
On Amazon.
Yeah.
Or on Amazon.
It
Numbers
is.
over there. All right.
It is, yeah.
Last question is: if today was your dying message to the world, what would your final message be?
Damn. Man, choose life. Choose to go on your adventure. Don't play it safe. Life's short.
Perfect.
Don't play it safe.
There we go. Man, this was insane pod. Lots of gems. I think to wrap it up, we're just all gonna.
Oh,
Yeah, we
all
doing
gonna
it?
Get naked?
Are we doing it?
We're definitely not
Are
doing
you
it.
sure, boys?
We're gonna put all of Joel's links down below. Yeah, this was actually really fun. I really enjoyed
Yeah,
this.
this was.
No, I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
interesting
for sure.
episode.
Really,
Yeah.
I'm so impressed with what you guys have done. It was an honor to be here. Enjoy the underwear.
Oh yes, we
Thank you
will.
so
Oh,
much.
did you want to maybe open it on camera real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's bust this open. Because
Yeah.
the packaging is nuts.
Yeah, the packaging is.
Yeah.
So we got one
the
box.
thong is yours.
Oh
Perfect.
my god.
Oh, I can't wait to see you wear
He
it.
told me that that's what you wanted.
Oh, the thong.
You know.
Oh, and it's a large too. That's awesome. All right.
That's
You-
Italian microfiber, Italian micromodal, made in Canada.
It's actually crazy. And it's made in
crazy
Canada.
soft,
Can you
man.
put it
Look at this
on real quick?
packaging. You want me to put it on right now?
Like over your pants?
Over my no.
Oh, okay.
This guy needs to get back to his AI girlfriend.
My bad, guys.
Tonight, boys. The boys are going to be feeling good tonight.
Yeah. All right. But that
Thank
pretty much
you.
wraps up the episode. We're gonna put all the links in the description below.
Yep. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, remember, stay seeking success.
Thank you.
Let's go. That was a good episode.
That was a
bro.
good episode,
That's
man.
good.
I did not know we were gonna take it there.